Welcome to another episode of Afros in the Diaspora. Today we have a very special guest with us, Miss Dee Adekugbe. She is also known as Pastor D or Mama D. She's the founder and executive director of Ruth House, which is a refuge for families of African descent facing family violence. Mama D, Pastor D, Miss D, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, this is so exciting. I can't wait to dive into our episode with you.
Okay.
Let's get into it. As I told you in our email and in our conversation, there will be a trivia. Because you are a Nigerian in the diaspora, we have to ask you about your motherland. I'll go very easy, very simple. I won't be too,
Okay, try me. Bring it on.
Bring it on. Okay. What is the name of the current president of Nigeria?
Buhari? No.
No. He used to be the governor of Lagos State.
Oh, it's my turn now. Tinubu. No?
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Tinubu. Yeah, Tinubu.
Yes.
Tinubu.
Is that the guy that says it's my turn now?
Yeah, Emi Loco. It's my turn. He's the one. You were right. Okay. What is the capital of Nigeria?
Abuja.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
What currency does Nigeria use?
Currency? Is it not Naira?
Yeah, it's Naira.
I'm like,
don't doubt yourself. You got this. Okay. On the national, Nigeria has a national motto the same way it has a national pledge, national anthem. What is the national motto of Nigeria?
National motto?
It's on the coat of arms.
The eagle thing?
Yeah, the thing with the eagle and the two horses and the map of Nigeria and the...
Something unity?
Yeah, unity is there. Unity and faith.
Oh, in unity, faith, peace and peace and unity. No, peace and
something.
Progress.
You're almost there.
Progress.
Yeah. Peace and progress. Yeah.
Somewhere there.
Yes. Well done. You got it.
Oh my God. Is that what's on the coat of arms?
Yes. Unity and faith, peace and progress. Yes.
Interesting.
Okay. Next question. Who is regarded as the father of Afrobeats?
Davido? I have no clue about
David, please, okay, try one more option. One more, not Davido. He from before maybe Davido was even born. He sang Water. You no get enemy.
Is that in English? Sorry,
that's Yoruba.
I think Yoruba.
No. He was a Yoruba man. He literally still has a shrine today in.
Fela.
Yes, Fela.
Fela shrine. You should have said who has a shrine in Nigeria. No, I said I didn't know he sang Afrobeats. I thought he's
the father of Afrobeats. He originated the genre. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. 2 last questions.
Oh my good Lord.
Yes. What are the 3 main ethnic groups of Nigeria?
Oh, Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa.
Correct. And what are the names of the main rivers in Nigeria? 2 of them. The main rivers.
River State.
That cut across the entire country. Did you say River State? Wait. Did you say River State? I didn't even catch that on time.
I don't know, the river and the state.
River State is a state like Lagos State. What the rivers that cut across the country. Okay, I'll give you one. You give me the other one. Let's try that. Okay, so there's River Niger and
River Niger, River State. No,
River Benue.
River who?
River Benue.
Where in the world is that? I don't even know where that is. I've never heard of that in my
Oh, well,
life.
you know what? It's okay. That's why we learn every day, right?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah. It's all
at
good.
least I got there's River Niger. Okay, River Niger, not River State. Okay.
Yeah, River Niger, River Benue. Yeah, but you got a few, so I think you missed just maybe two or three questions. So that's you still win. You still win. You still win.
Very well, thank you. Fela is the Afrobeats father. Okay.
Yeah, the father. Now you know.
And now I know, not Davido.
Not Davido. He's one of the children.
Well, now I know.
Okay. I'll ask you two riddles to wrap this segment off. And these riddles, please don't think too much about them. They are literally very silly. I promise you. Okay. Um, this is a riddle I've asked before on the podcast, so I'll ask it again. Where can you finish a book without finishing a sentence?
I have no clue. Except the library. I have no clue.
It's another place. It's an institution.
Library.
No, not the library. Try another place. Okay, it's a prison.
Say what? Oh my good lord. How is there books? Oh, sentence. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was slow with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, right? Okay, the last riddle. An electric train is moving north
Yeah.
at 100 mph. Which way does the smoke blow if it's moving north?
West.
The electric train, right? It's moving to the north.
Yeah. So the smoke is blowing. I have no clue. West?
It's electric trains don't release smoke.
Oh, electric. Not get. Oh my God. Okay. I was so busy focusing on the direction,
Yeah,
not the okay, not the fact that it's electric,
yeah,
not gas. Oh, and I'm thinking of the Orient Express.
right? That movie.
Like, okay, moving, yeah, it's going straight. It's blow. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, no, no, yeah. See, that's why I said,
The Bible, that's easy.
oh, I should ask a question from the Bible?
No,
Because in a quick second, I can't.
no, thou shalt not put the Lord to the test.
My goodness. Oh, my days. Okay. Well, thank you, Miss D. You've been part of this, to shake out the nerves for this icebreaker session. Um, but yeah, we're gonna get into our topic for today. And today, we're gonna talk about Ruth's House, which you founded and you're the executive director for, which is such like it has such a positive impact in our community here in Calgary, where families that are going through really, really, really tough times can find safety and can find security and can take some time to kind of recover. So you're doing your thing. Oh, you are showing us the way. We young people, you are kind of inspiring, and because like it's something a lot of people don't talk about, right? Like, in as much as, yeah, like there's the belief that, oh yeah, like abroad, the laws there are for the women, like so people don't really be, I don't even know if it's a belief thing. I think they just don't acknowledge or recognize that, oh, domestic violence, both from the woman's side and the man's side, like it's very, very real, which makes what you do really, really important for our community. So, first of all, a very big thank you for what you do, for this initiative, and for how you're seeing it through and making sure that it grows and expands and, you know, um, serves the community in the best way possible. So, first of all, hats off to you. A bow
Thank
to
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for the work that you do. Um, what inspired Ruth's House? Like, what was the thing? Tell us a bit about your story of how you came to the point of Ruth's house is a great idea. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was during COVID, um, during the lockdown, I was speaking out against women that were stuck at home in a bad situation, just because of COVID, and we had to remain, locked down. And I just started advising women and anybody that was going through a crisis that, hey, listen, reach out for help. You don't have to stay locked down just because of, the pandemic. There is help for you in the community. And that was because, I was getting a lot of calls, and a lot of people were reaching out asking for help. They were in crisis, marriage crisis. They were going through violence, abuse, all sorts. So I just became very vocal on social media that, listen, if you're going through a bad time, if you're not doing well, reach out for help.
Mm-hmm.
And people were reaching out, and we were placing people in hotels. We were placing people in Airbnbs. We were placing people with friends and families wherever we could, place a woman to be safe, even with her, with children. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and we were picking people up from, their homes, broken and battered and bruised. And it was, and so after the lockdown in 2022, we just decided that we need to do more. We can't stop. And this thing is growing, and people are actually seeing that there's help, that they don't have to stay silent. They can reach out
Mm-hmm.
for help. And so that's the reason why we launched, Ruth's House. And just to be able to let people know that there is, tangible help in the community that's structured and supportive and protective
Mm-hmm.
and still within the community. They didn't have to go outside of the community to ask
Mm-hmm.
the help that they needed.
Yeah. Wow, that is so powerful. And see, a lot of people, like, in as much as, yes, a pandemic rocked the world, and honestly, I'm someone, as a person, I stay away from the news just for my
Mhm.
own well-being. I can't handle the bad news, even though they say it's news, it's mostly bad news. I can't handle it. I can't handle too much of it, or I'll just be in a frozen state of like helplessness, like with like what is happening in the world. The world is dying, and I would just freeze. And I know during the pandemic there were certain, like, it was so um because the because families are stuck together, usually there's an escape, right? You can go to work, you can go hang out with friends, you can go get drinks, you can whatever. So if there's an argument or if there's a fight in the house, there's an escape. Like, people have the opportunity to go get fresh air or whatever and come back home. There was still job security in a lot of ways. There was still, so life was stable, but
Mhm.
because this worldwide pandemic, this sickness came and rocked the world, swept people off their feet. People were getting into debt. Like, there was no money at home, no money coming in. People were losing jobs. Companies were shutting down. Like, businesses were closing. So the frustration that caused, because there was nowhere else to pour that. Even the gyms were closed. Like, you couldn't even go and work it out,
Mhm.
right? And then so the chaos turned inward, and people started turning on each other in their relationships. Like, the domestic violence that already existed exponentially, like, like, it went
Exactly.
up. It
Yes.
skyrocketed, right? And
It is true. The lockdown really just exposed a lot of, foundational structures of, marriages and relationships. And like you said, we went to work 9 to 5. I saw my husband, my siblings in the
mm-hmm,
evenings. Everybody had separate lives, and then when we came together, we were all happy. But now
mm-hmm,
we're facing each other 24 hours a day. Nowhere, and there's no escape. And if you live
mm-hmm,
in an apartment, there's really nowhere else to go. In that
mm-hmm,
apartment, you're literally stuck with each other. And
mm-hmm.
so, divorce rates went up.
Yep.
People that were not used to living together full time, and now we're now stuck together. And, families that all had their own interests outside of the homes were stuck together and just really didn't know how to navigate life together
Yep.
on a full-time basis with no escape at all, no
Mm-hmm,
reprieve.
mm-hmm,
And really just relationships that were on a just hanging on were completely shattered.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, other relationships thrived. People found ways to connect with each other outside the homes, and and it worked. But for those that were already cracked, those that were already on one leg, just
Mm-hmm.
couldn't work. And then people that lost their jobs, people that were going through illness, sickness, anxiety, so many things.
Mm-hmm.
There was no outlets. You couldn't go to the gym. You couldn't go to see your therapist. You couldn't go to the doctors. So people it was just the frustration led to an increase.
So just this subject matter is really heavy for me. So I'm just gonna we're gonna breathe through it.
Process it.
Yeah, we're gonna breathe our way through this episode here. Um
Mm.
and so what was it like trying to get funding to set up or establish Roots House? And what was it like? Like, was it something that was supported by the government? Was it something that like they saw value in and were able to invest in? Or was it something that like would you mind talking about that?
Yeah, we didn't have funding to start Ruth's House. I personally took a line of credit, of almost 100,000 to start Ruth's House because
Wow.
there was a need. And, it's like starting a business or
Yeah.
starting a project. You first of all have to put your money where your mouth is and show me the
Yes.
money first, show me
Yes.
how much you're committed to it. And because
Yeah.
I was very invested in this, I was committed to this. I really had to find the house to house people. I had to
Mhm.
find the money personally to start this work. And I did. And then after we launched it, then people started seeing the value in it and started getting on board with it. But
Mhm.
initially, we didn't, this was not a business. There was no business plan for this. There was no, okay, we're going to start Ruth's House in 1 year's time, or we're going to,
Mhm.
there was no preparation. We saw a need, we needed to deal with it, and we needed to deal with it immediately because people's lives were in
We're at
danger.
stake.
Lives was, in serious danger, and we just went to work immediately, and then gradually people began to see the value, and support began to flood in.
Wow. Talk about determination and resilience, right? Because like in my head I'm just like, "Oh yeah, government of Canada. Oh yeah, they, wow."
Both our
That's
shelters are not funded by the government. We raise the money every day, every week, every month.
wow.
We raise close to 30,000 to keep it going every month.
Government of Canada, please, if you're listening to this podcast, hello, what are you doing?
I know they will come around, but
Mhm.
we are new. There are other shelters that are in existence,
Of
that
course.
have been in existence for years that are also struggling with funding. But, and so we're the new kids on the block, and
Mm.
there's a lineup of people in front of us waiting for funding. And
Yeah.
so, we needed to take care of our own, and we needed to
Mhm.
do it fast.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
Mm.
With November being the Domestic Violence Awareness Month, what is something that your experience with Roots House and how close you are to like like these very bleak realities of what's happening with family violence? What is something that you want to put out there as a myth or misunderstanding about family violence? What is something that people have a misunderstanding of, or people have misconstrued and just kind of sort of dismissed? Meanwhile, you being in the thick of it, you're like, no, this is not how it is. Like, what is something you'd like to change people's perception of or bring awareness to?
I think the first thing is that the African community has a crisis. And one in three, 1 in 2, 1 in 3 in our community are going through domestic violence and divorce. And we are oblivious to it. We don't want to address it because this is a taboo. We don't talk about abuse. We don't talk about beatings and slapping. We don't talk
Mm-hmm.
about verbal abuse, sexual abuse, all these things because it's been normalized in our community. We all grew up. in an abusive environment, community. So, a man beating his wife is not something new. It's what happens, it's, parents beating their children, beating sense into them. All these things are standard, we all grew up with that. It's just standard practice, way of life. But
Yeah.
in Canada, it's not. It's not acceptable, and it shouldn't be acceptable in any community. And
Hmm.
in Canada now, the reality is that within 5 years of newcomers coming from Nigeria to Canada, one in two of those are ending in divorce. And we are just accepting it. We all know friends and families that have gone through a divorce. We all know friends and families that have gone through abuse, but we
Yes.
don't do anything about it because, yeah, and we also tell each other, you know what, you need to learn to submit. You need to learn to just deal with it. Don't put your business out there. But people are dying, people are suffering in our community. And this November being Family Violence Prevention Month, Alberta has the third highest statistics for family violence in the country. And almost 50% of Albertans are immigrants. Almost 50%. So if we have
Wow.
if we have the third highest and 50% of us are immigrants, and one of the top four countries that people are emigrating from is Nigeria,
Hmm.
then you can do the math
Right.
that we have a crisis and we need to start talking. And platforms like opens up that opportunities for us to talk about this thing. Let's stop hiding behind closed doors. Let's stop
Hmm.
hiding behind religion, and let's start facing reality that, hey, my girlfriend is going through abuse.
Yep.
I'm not going to just sit back and say it's not my business. It is your business.
Yep.
And let's be each other's keepers.
Whew, so well said. I had to take a few deep breaths during that because, like, oh my God. That completely true. I didn't realize that Alberta has such high family violence rates. I did not realize that
In the country,
in the entire country.
let's take a pause
Like,
and let's take a
let that
pause for that.
digest for a second. Oh my word. And then, yeah, like you were saying, Nigeria being one of four top
The top
countries where
four
people are
countries.
immigrating into, Alberta, into Canada, and then literally doing the math. Like literally, that means, like you said, literally the first sentence you said is that we're in a crisis. Like it's actually not something that we can afford to turn a blind eye to anymore.
No,
Like,
and when you go to when you speak to other organizations that are dealing with family crisis or dealing with settlement issues, Nigerians are top of the list in terms of clients referrals.
sorry, just I'm just breathing, y'all. I'm taking this all in because it is a lot to take in, and I'm sure that the listeners also are flawed, like I am. Like, in as much as I knew that this is, of course, it's a big deal. Of course, I guess I didn't realize how extreme, like how much
Mm.
of a crisis we're in until you start talking. And you mentioned some amazing, amazing things. Like it's seen as such a big part of the culture where whether it's African culture or Nigerian culture or religion is a very, very big part. When you were like, oh, I said, oh my, you should learn to submit. I felt triggered. I'm not gonna lie. That one entered because that is true. Like men say it, women also say it, especially folks in the older generation sometimes.
Or
How
why?
is it
What
that?
did you? Yeah. Or what did you do for him to beat you? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Respect your husband. Yeah. Go home and submit. Go and apologize. Go and just be. Don't upset him.
Ooh, I've actually seen, like, how on Instagram or social media people will come and say like stories of what's happened in their family, or this person was talking about how this woman was being abused by her husband, like physically, and she said she wanted a divorce. Very calmly wanted to just say, you know what, this is not going to work. I can't continue going through this. She didn't really tell her family what was really going on. She didn't really any like she didn't. She just wanted this to be quiet. Let's like. If you're beating me like this, you don't like me that much. Let's just go our separate ways. I think at that point they didn't have kids. The man called a family meet, like he reported her to her family that, see the person I paid bride price on her head, oh, this my personal wife. She's telling me that she wants a divorce. Why? Because, and he said it, because if she does anything wrong, I just correct her. I
Mm-hmm.
just, correct her in a very loving manner, and now she's saying she wants a divorce. Do you know they made this woman beg, because the man now started doing like Igberaga, like Shakara, that I don't even want that again. People can come and carry your wife, give me back my bride price. He now
Mm-hmm.
started being the one to do the like. There's some things you read. Like I read that and I was like, how is this mathematics adding up? This is 1 plus 1 is giving 250. It's not adding up. Like, how are you the one abusing this woman? She says she wants to leave, then you report her to her family. And because of the way that culture is baked, she's now the one that's having to beg for the man to now stay with her. Can you imagine? Like
Mm-hmm.
things like that drive me crazy. Like I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Religion is such a big, like it has a strong hold on people, but I even feel like it's misunderstood and it's taken
Yes,
advantage of, to just, it's been warped to fit a certain narrative where, as the head of this family, whatever I say goes. You are
exactly,
you are you are
exactly.
you are spiritually insignificant. As the head of this family, I am my
But it's true.
it is. It's true. It really is. It's the reality, and spiritual heads don't even help, because sometimes, with our culture, oh, if there's no one to talk to, you go talk to your pastor. People would rather talk to their pastor than get a therapist.
Mm.
And in a lot of ways, pastors enable the behavior.
Yes, some do. Yes.
Some pastors enable the behavior. Some pastors say, well, you're not submitting. Go and fast for 7 days and 7 nights. If you're serving your husband food, kneel down on the floor. If you're doing, like, don't argue, don't shout, don't. So you literally become a doormat, lose all sense of self. But it's still
Mm-hmm.
not enough, because an abuser is an abuser. If you don't look at him right or walk correctly, he will slap your face. Like, it doesn't help. And the
Yeah.
blame is always on the abused.
Yeah, I mean, they shame her. It's her fault. She did something wrong.
Hmm.
And then at the same time, we also have men that their wives are very abusive towards them.
Yep. I
They
was going to
are
get into that
also,
next. Yeah.
and they are also afraid to speak out
Yes.
because people will say, "What's wrong with you? Yeah, you can't manage your wife.
As a man.
You're letting a woman they deal with you.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Hmm.
When did you become the woman and she wears the
Oh
pants?
God.
People don't know
Oh.
what the things that come out of our culture, our community. It's so
Hmm.
damaging that
Yes.
people don't want to talk. They just suffer in silence.
100%. Like, it's sorry. I have to swallow, breathe, and breathe. Like, bear with me. Bear with me. But it's true. It's true. Like, the blame is always on the victim, whether it's a woman. I say, you see the worst part there. I want to speak pidgin now, but let me just stick to English.
Yes.
The worst part is that, like, they will quote Bible, quote Quran,
Uh-huh.
quote whatever it is. A good woman keeps her home.
Mm-hmm.
A bad woman, kiriko kirika. I don't know the rest of that quote, but they'll
Their own hands.
they will speak all the, as a child of God. God hates divorce, so you have to stay. They're killing you somewhere. They say you cannot go. Which kind God? Like I, whoo. And
I
then
think,
of course, with men, oh my days, like I feel even my heart even breaks more, because there are men who literally, I don't want wahala. What I want is good life, love my wife and my kids, move on. But then there's some women who would rather fight, like really are abusers too. And sometimes, in some cases, because they know that as women, they are likely going to be believed over the man,
Yeah, because
especially
mhm.
especially
No,
in the North.
go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, of course, especially in the North American system, is if the man says this man is beating me and she just cries, "Chickeny," if she just he slapped me, it's a wrap. That's all she needs to do, and the man is in trouble. So, like the system here, yes, because women are physically weaker, historically have suffered a lot more violence than men. There is more care towards women, as there should be, but I feel like now it is being taken advantage of by women who are abusers, who feel like they can get away with it because they're women. Can you speak to
Yes.
that?
And that is so true because you do have some men that their wives are very abusive. They know that they will get away with it. They know the system. And, I mean, I had a client one time. The wife was the one that was the aggressor. Yeah. And then somebody said, well, what did you do to her to make her aggressive? And I'm like, what do you mean? What did he do? If that was the other way around, you wouldn't ask, what did he do? What did she do? But you're asking that, what did he do to provoke her to hit him? Or to provoke her to abuse him. So
Hmm.
again, we're still going back to that blame that is the man's fault. Man is
Yeah,
the trouble.
yeah,
Whereas you have these women that they know the system and they are using the system to get away with literally abuse. They're using the system to get rid of the husband that they don't want because he's not, because they think the grass is green on the other
on the
side. They
other side.
found somebody else who looks better and
Hmm.
is driving a Benz, not knowing that that Benz is on credit or something that is his friend's car. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
and you have some women that have mental health issues as well
Mm.
that that are taking it out on their husbands. So it's both side, but and it's for men, there's no outlet, there's no support group. And
Mm.
that's why we have Mandela House. We really had to go and design and come up with a solution for the Nigerian men, the African men in our community, and say, we hear you, we see you, and we want to help you. Don't suffer in silence.
Yeah.
And and hence Mandela House. That's how it started, to be able to provide that support,
Mm.
for everybody. Everybody needs help.
Yeah.
And so we work with both, not just men who are victims of abuse from women, but also men that are violent, that they need, to go through rehabilitation. They need to, they need help to, address their anger issues and their, and, the ways that they're using violence as a way of coping with whatever it is that they're dealing with. So we're working with those guys as well, because
Mm.
we want them to not leave one relationship, one broken woman, and then go and meet another woman, get into another relationship, and then break that one. And before you know it, he has a history of 5, 6 women that he has abused
Mm.
before we now say this guy needs help.
Yeah.
You so we want to try and deal with things at the onset. Like, let's take this abusive man and let's get him the help that he needs. Let's deal with his issues. Let's work with him so that we can protect every woman that's going to come across his life in the future.
Yeah. Mandela House, yes. And that one, compared to Ruth's house, when was that also started in 2022?
No, we just opened Mandela House this year on Mandela Day.
Oh,
Just
okay. Okay.
it's to coincide with Nelson Mandela's Day, International Day, and because we wanted to honor the great role model that we have in the African and Black community, and
Yeah.
also be able to display what no matter what a man goes through, this can be his own outcome as well. So literally,
Mm.
from the pit of abuse, from the pit of, family crisis, and really, taking them through the process of healing, restoration, healing, rehabilitation, and restoration back into the community.
Mm. And is this something that people would have to like pay to be a part of, or it's also like free where they can come and get the help and support that they need?
It's a free, shelter for men where they can stay 90 days or more, to access free counseling, free,
Wow.
free therapy, free support, free mediation, free programs, peer support programs with other men that are going through similar things. There's a brotherhood, out there that we have created for men to know that they are not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
everything we
amazing.
provide is free.
That's amazing. A round of applause. If you're a listener, I say a round of applause right now.
Yeah, and open your
That's
wallet and donation.
yes. Open your wallets and donate. Exactly. How do you feel like, because you've shared your heart about how Ruth's house, Mandela's house are both like kind of your out of your heart for service to our communities, our African and Black communities here in Alberta and in Calgary. How do you feel like the community can support you in supporting them? Like, how do you feel like that relationship can grow better, um, for the benefit of us all?
Let's keep talking. Let's create platforms like this whereby we're talking about these things and we're not shying away from it. Because the more we can educate our community, the more we can support each other. And let's stop being, judgmental, and and thinking that, oh, there's no domestic violence in the African community. I'm like, oh, sure, maybe, the label, maybe the terminology doesn't exist in our, in our pidgin dictionary or
Mm-hmm.
Yoruba dictionary, but the behavior certainly does. And
Mm-hmm.
it goes back generations.
Yes.
We are, fortunately and unfortunately, we are in a patriarchal society
Yeah.
where men are dominant, and so we can't change that, but we can certainly learn to live together and work together as equal partners, bringing, our different strengths to the table to create a healthy family. I
Mm-hmm.
think our community needs to do more talking. We need to do more education, more awareness.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. 100% agreed. And of course, the donations, please.
And donations as well. Please support our cause. We are a free organization that lives off, we rely heavily on donation to keep going. Like I said, we're not a government funded shelter. Our shelters are yet to be funded, but we know that we will get there once,
Yeah.
we get to once the government sees that we're taking care of our own.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for all of the financial supporters from within the community that sees the need, that understands that we have to do this together. And, Roots House is not an independent organization that's just out there doing its own thing. We are a community.
Mm-hmm.
We are a family. We are the African community taking care of itself.
Yeah. Well said. The African community taking care of itself. What
Mm.
you spoke a bit about the inspiration behind you naming the men's home, the men's shelter, Mandela's house. Why why did you choose Ruth? What is it about the name Ruth? Is that your name? Is that like, where did that come from?
Girl's name is my last born. Ruth is her name.
Oh,
She's a beautiful, hardworking, inspirational young woman. But it's
amazing.
also about the Ruth in the Bible, the story of the Bible. As a pastor, everything that I do has a little bit of, pastoral, influence in
Spice.
there. Let's
Yes.
sprinkle it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're Africans, we're religious,
Yeah.
we're
Yes.
Christian, Muslim, atheist, whatever. We're
Yeah.
very religious. And
Yes.
so I needed an inspirational role model for the organization. And Ruth is very inspirational to me in the Bible. She
Mm-hmm.
left her country. She lost everything. Lost her husband, lost everything, followed her mother-in-law
Mhm.
back to a new country, a new language, a new people. And that country, Bethlehem, embraced they welcomed her, they loved her, and and they took her in. And there she found acceptance, even as a foreigner. She
Mhm.
found a place to belong, and
Mhm.
she found a community.
Mhm.
And so I tell people that no matter what you've lost, no matter what you've gone through, when you come to Ruth's house, you're coming to a place where you're going to be accepted and you're going to find your own community that will help you to get back on your feet. The same way that Ruth was able to get back on her feet. She got married again. She had children, home, everything she lost, she was able
She
to gain
gained.
it back. And
Yes.
so it's giving hope to people. Ruth's house is a place of hope.
Oh, well said. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Are there any like final words? I'm about to ask how can people reach you? How can people reach Roots House, like the website? Is there an email address that they can reach out to? Is there a way that they can give? They text this number. They can just like how what are the opportunities and ways people can give? How can people get involved, join the community, support, whether it's on social media, the website, anything like that? Would you mind sharing that, please?
For sure, we are everywhere and anywhere. Just look up Roots House on LinkedIn, Roots House on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and of course our website. We do, ask, for two things. Please speak out if you need help. Speak out if you know somebody that's going through something, and also be a part of, this movement, this campaign, to be a part of it. Volunteer with us, donate to us, spread the word about us. Let's just keep talking and let's keep helping each other, because you never know, by giving, by speaking out, you could be saving one of your own family member without realizing.
Yes, 100%. Is there anything else, just final thoughts you'd like us to know about Roots House, Mandela House before I ask you for your, word of wisdom, a word of advice for the people?
I I think the last thing I'd like to tell is that Mandela House for Men is a real place for men that are going through crisis.
Yes.
November is, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, as
Mhm.
well as Family Violence Awareness Month. We
Mhm.
need our brothers alive. We need our
Yeah.
brothers strong. We need our men to be, good role models for our kids. So please get the help that you need.
Yeah.
And women, please stop suffering and covering it up, because, although, your children will follow your footsteps, and they
Mhm.
will think it's okay, that this is what their own future will look like. So if you whatever you're doing, and you're thinking that you're doing it for your children, you're damaging them instead. So by
Mhm.
getting help, you're actually protecting your children's future. So please, everybody, get help, reach out for help. We
Yeah.
are confidential, we're private. We cannot disclose your information, your story anywhere. Otherwise, we will be breaking our own, confidentiality clause.
Mhm. Yes, and as Miss D said earlier, the service is free. You don't have to worry about how am I going to pay for this? How am I? You don't have to worry about all that. Come get the help you need. If you're going through something, if you want to talk, if you don't want to talk, you just want to get away. Roots House is there. Mandela House is there for our
Mm.
men who are also going through this. It doesn't matter. I don't think there's no age restriction, is there?
No, there isn't.
No,
We have
exactly.
support for children. We have support for, youth. We have support for elderly. Everybody is welcome
Yes.
at this house, no matter what you are going through. You're welcome.
Yes, you're welcome. Please make use of this resource here that Miss D has poured her life into to be able to offer this kind of support. So please, Miss D, this is amazing work that you do. Once again, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for this act of service that you're doing for our community.
Thank
And
you.
Of course. And before you go, just leave us with a word of wisdom, something to keep us gingered and inspired.
Something to give you ginger. I think I'll leave you with one thing. Don't do life alone. Life is meant to be shared. So
Mm,
you don't do life alone. You're not an island.
yes.
And even on islands, there are people there.
Yep.
So don't do
Hmm.
life alone.
Don't do life alone. No, I hope you have heard.
Even as a single person, don't do life alone.
Yes, there's community, there's friends, there's resources, there's support. Don't do life alone. No one is an island. Once again, Miss D, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for sharing more about the ethos of Ruth's House and Mandela House, about the work that you're doing and how our community is literally in crisis, and we have to be intentional about healing ourselves. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and for our listeners, thank you for sticking with us on this episode. We'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, rate, do all the things, okay? Thank you, and bye bye.